What up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac, the Giants fan, here with my guys, the Horsemen. You know what time it is. It's time for the for the Premium Takes podcast. Let's go. I'm sorry, that was my bad. I was getting all mixed up when I was getting ready to say do the real deal intro. I was yeah, it was a mess.
That's
My
awesome.
bad.
That's awesome.
It's been a
It's
long
all
day.
good.
Tired of this shit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we get ready for a new season of Premium Takes, I just want to say we have a lot of the country right now, the South, the Southeast, and everybody up in the the rest almost too. You know, what I mean, a lot of states is affected by a lot of different hurricanes, tornadoes, and a lot of things going on. So before we start the program, I just want to say, pray for the nation. Pray for the planet, pray for the world, and pray for all the families affected. Hopefully, they got out safety. And if you know anybody affected, pray for you, pray for their safety as well. A lot of stuff going on, and this is not a show to cover world events or anything like that. But as humans, we are concerned. So hopefully everybody's all right in Florida and the other states as well. That being said, we are back on Premium Takes. We got everybody in the house as is. What's up, Coach? Thank you so much for being here, my brother. We got No Mets. Let's get it. Let's get it. We got Daniel. You guys always here holding it down as always. So we really appreciate that. And we do not take your viewership for granted. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm back. What's up, George John?
What's
Thank you
up,
so much for
Gregan?
being here as well. That being said, we're back. Premium Takes is back. I know it's been a while since I was on this show, so I want to thank the two gentlemen above me. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mac, for holding it down. I know it's been about a month and a half since I've been on Premium Takes, and I appreciate you guys for working out you guys' schedules and changing the day for I can get back on the show. And I appreciate you guys holding it down for all the times that I was absent. That being said, I am going to turn the mic over to Mac real fast, but before I do, I just want to give you guys a rundown. I know it's been a while since the three of us has been on, but that being said, we're probably gonna cover a little bit of the MLB, cover a little bit of the UFC, cover a little bit of maybe college football, and then we'll jump into our main topic of the hour, which is the NFL season. We'll probably do pick'ems for the week and probably talk about what surprised us over the start of the season, and obviously get into the team that we all do love them, we hate them, we get mad at them, but we scream at the top of the lungs for them, the New York Giants. And then we'll probably exit in the show by previewing the tonight's game, which is the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. That being said, I am going to turn it over to Mac because the MLB season has just wrapped up and it's on to the playoffs. So that being said, I know Mac is our designated baseball fan here. So the mic is yours, Mac. What's going on in the world of baseball?
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot going on in the world of baseball, but I'm only talking about one particular team right now. What's going on in the world of the New York Mets? The New York Metropolitans right now. This is a baseball team that came into this season, April and May, and they were absolutely one of the absolute worst teams in all of baseball, not just the National League, but all of baseball. They were absolutely one of the worst teams. On June the 1st, the New York Mets were 11 games under 500. 11 games under 500. June 1st. And this baseball team, from that point on, turned it around, man, and just got things going. And that's since the All-Star break. Since the All-Star break, this team has they've just lit it up, man. Been like pretty much I'd say the best team probably in baseball. Probably are the best, had the best record since the All-Star break. Because this team just completely it took them all the way down to the last day of the season to clinch their playoff spot. But now it's on and popping. They went through the Brewers in the wild card round, and they just took out the Phillies last night in Game 4, man, up in New York and Queens in front of the home fans. This baseball team has been special, man, throughout the second half of this season. Francisco Lindor has been the absolute leader. I mean, he's been the leader. He's the one. He's who he's the one. One single swing from his bat last night was the difference in the game last night when he came up to the plate in the sixth inning and just hit that grand slam and gave the Mets the 4-1 lead that they wouldn't look back from. It's just been a phenomenal run for this baseball team, and look, it's sometimes they always say it's about who's the hottest team going in. Well, the Mets are undoubtedly the hottest team coming in to this postseason this year. And look, the way this season started, no one would have thought the Mets would have had a chance at raising the National League pennant, man. But it's getting a little more realistic now. They got to wait till tomorrow night and see who they got to face between the Dodgers or the Padres. And either it doesn't matter whoever wins, the Mets are still once again going to be the underdogs, as the Padres or the Dodgers both will have home field advantage over the Mets. But I think that doesn't really matter with the way this team is playing and the way this team believes in themselves. I mean, they're getting the effort from everyone. Everybody is contributing. Everybody's a contributor. There's no wasted motion with this baseball team right now. From top to bottom, from the 1 to the 9 hitter in lineup, they're getting contributions from everyone. So, you know what I mean? This Mets team, it's been awesome, man. I mean, Pete Alonso has been on an absolute tear throughout the postseason thus far as well. I mean, like I said, this is everybody. I mean, everybody's stepping up right now and making a difference for this New York Mets team, man. And I'm just proud of them. It's giving me something to root about. Jeffy T, NYG, Jeffy T, the late great Jeffrey Turner. This is for you, baby. This is for you. Another our fallen horseman, man. Our angel always looking down on us, man. Jeff was a big-time New York Mets fan, and I know he looking down right now, proud of this baseball team, man. I wish he was here to see it all go down, man. But look,
he's the angel in the outfield, carrying those balls over the yard, man. He's he injected himself into Pete Alonso's bat and got that spark flying for that team. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. This has just been an amazing run, though, for the New York Mets. Like I said, they couldn't start off a season as bad as this team did, man. And the same with even Francisco Lindor as an individual. Starting off the season, the first 2 months of the season, he was an absolutely terrible as well. He almost wanted to run him out of town the way he was playing the first couple months of the season. And he's been since the All-Star break. I think he could go out on a limb and say he's been the National League MVP since the All-Star break. Obviously, we know he's not going to win that because Ohtani out there in LA just is who he is. He is him. But Lindor has been amazing the whole entire second half of this season, man. He's definitely stepped up, and he's been the leader the New York Mets have needed, man. And right now, this team, I think the only thing stopping them is themselves, man. So keep it going, man, and keep the ball rolling. And I'm just proud of the New York Mets right now. I mean, keep an eye on them Yankees tonight, see if they can close it out, man. Maybe we get a Subway Series popping off this year, man. It's been 20 years since the last Subway Series, and I still got a sour taste in my mouth from that too. I don't forget shit. So let's go, man. I'm kind of rooting for that myself personally as a fan, but I'll take the Mets in the World Series no matter who they playing against. So let's go.
Well said. And thank you, Mac, for that baseball talk. Adam, before we move on, is there anything that you wanted to say about baseball?
Yeah, the Yankees are, in a dogfight with the Royals, but Juan Carlos Stanton, he's coming through. You know, a guy who hasn't hit in the postseason in a long time, his bat has finally woken up, and it's good to see for the Yankees that they, that those bats are alive, and they're up right now in Kansas City 2-1. Still a lot of baseball left to be played. Who knows what will happen? I think they play tonight, as a matter of fact. So, and Judge,
play 8 o'clock.
Listen, the guy had 60 home runs. He's exhausted. I mean, it's true. People act like, oh, Judge. Where were you guys when Judge was hitting those home runs? Were you not happy about him at that point? Right? You were excited. So now that he's here and he's basically drug you guys to the playoffs on his play alone, he's struggling a little bit in the playoffs because again, he's had a lot of at bats, he's had a lot of home runs, and he's done a lot of work as a team to get them over the hump. So I'm saying, listen, no Mets. I'm not trying to tell you you should hit in the playoffs. I get it. Pete Alonso wasn't doing nothing until he got to the playoffs, and then he got a little bit ignited. Juan Carlos Stanton, who did nothing during the year, basically is now taking over for Aaron Judge. And if they can kind of weather the storm, no pun intended, for anybody, if they can kind of get through this without having to, use Aaron Judge, then maybe Judge's bat lights up later on in the playoffs. I know you need him now, but other guys are contributing right now. So sometimes when you carry the team needs to carry you every once in a while. You know what I mean? So let's see. I get it. No excuses. He's up at bat, isn't he? It's not like he's not playing. You know what I mean? He's in a slump. Batters get in a slump. Hitters get in a slump. That's what they do. That's baseball. That's the ebb and flows of baseball. But again, you weren't mad when he was hitting RBIs. So.
Well said, Adam. Well said. That being said, we do want to turn the page. I did text the boys this offseason, obviously watching Sports Center, seeing Shohei do amazing things, living in 2 hours from Los Angeles. I did bagwagon to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So all the hate you guys want at me, it's fine. I'm going to follow the Japanese. So that being said, that the Japanese know how to play baseball. That being said, I'm going to follow him to Los Angeles and be a fan of them for a bit. I'm not a big baseball fan, so don't take too hard on that. But
I think no Mets. I think no Mets. I understand where you're coming from in terms of no excuses, right? I'm not giving him excuses. I'm just giving you things to think about. You know me. Deliver when it's time to deliver, right? But at the same time, you gotta. This is. It's the same thing like when the Warriors, right, get to the finals and have a slump. It's because they played 120 games of basketball 2 or 3 years in a row. Your legs get tired. It's true. You've hit a lot of home runs and driven in RBIs and had a solid season. You get tired, and then when you get to the playoffs, Juan Carlos Stanton, who didn't do much all year because he's in and out of the lineup, is now hitting. He's taking over for what Aaron Judge is doing. Now Aaron Judge hopefully will get his mechanics.
He better show up eventually.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any excuses. Right. We put a lot on our athletes, but when the great athletes tend to need to be carried by the team, and we don't know if him being in the lineup is even helping. Maybe they're strictly trying to pitch harder at Judge to get him out because of the 60 home runs, and it's allowing guys like Carlos Stanton to get other pitches thrown his way just because they weren't as worried as about him. Now they're worried about Judge. Maybe they're throwing heaters. Maybe the strike zone is getting a little tight. Maybe he's eyeing stuff up. Listen. Baseball is baseball. Look at like I said, look at the other New York team across the city. One guy heated up, and guess what that did? Alonso ignited that spark that this Mets team has. The Yankees are in the playoffs right now. You never know when he might hit a dinger tonight, and maybe that's what he is.
I was just going to say that in the world of sports too, I may not understand or be an avid baseball fan like the rest of the chat or you guys, but I will say this. If you see it in Arizona sometimes in the playoffs, I'm not an MLB fan, so I'm not talking out of place, but all you need is a chance. All you need is a spot in. If you have a spot in, we've seen some miracles happen in the world of baseball, and you also seen a team get hot and at the right time in the world of baseball. And this is someone that is not even a casual, just watching from for. So that being said, Adam does have a point. No Mets does have a point, and hopefully Judge can show off. But the fact that the Yankees are in, congratulations to the Yankees. The Mets, congratulations to the Mets, and I'll be watching the Los Angeles Dodgers over in the Nationals Conference. That being said, though, moving on, we was gonna dabble in the world of the UFC, but that UFC 308 is some 2 weeks out, so we're probably not going to get there on today's show, but we'll get there eventually. And keep in mind, I'm still doing the Combat Club with Raphael, so some of your deep dives on the world of MMA, UFC, and Bellator, even dabble in WWE sometimes and boxing. Make sure you guys go check out the Combat Club. Sorry, gentlemen above me, self-plug on another podcast. That being said, how selfish of me. With that being said, the NBA is starting up in a bit. I'm super excited for that. a lot of stuff's going on in the NBA. A lot of trades. We have Paul George on the new team. We have Klay Thompson on the new team. But even at the NBA standards, we're probably going to get into that. I know it's a week and a half out of the regular season kicking off, but as the regular season kicks off and as the NBA gets back up to full speed, we'll probably mix in the NBA on this show as well. I will say this about the NBA: if you guys haven't already, you guys should check out Student 5 on Netflix. A beautiful behind the scenes about what these basketball players actually go through. We're here discussing them as fans, and sometimes we forget, we throw shade at them, but like, you guys are making millions of dollars, play better. Sometimes we forget that they're human beings too, and they do have emotions as well. That being said, the show does a good job on taking the camera behind the scenes, and not only seeing what these basketball players go through on a regular basis, but also they go through mentally and physically, and it can be a mental drain at times. So shout out to the Student 5 on Netflix. I believe it's correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is produced and by Omaha Productions. So the same production crew, obviously, Peyton Manning's production crew, the same crew that did wide receiver and
Omaha.
yeah, Omaha. That being said, I love that. What a great man. Just go back, just get high, pause, take your medications, and go back and watch some Peyton Manning highlights. Beautiful. That being said, guys, let's move on to football. We'll basically be gonna cover in football the entirety of the show. I would love to dabble into high school football, but there's so much football going on in college and NFL. It's hard to keep up with high school football. But that being
How many
said,
fucking high schools there are? You talk about high school football.
I don't know.
We don't
There's
even
some
live in
great.
the same states and shit.
That's why I said I would love to dabble into it, but there's so much football going on elsewhere that it's hard to really
Yeah,
follow.
our next segment is going to be about Pee Wee football and the Pee Wee League.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Well,
We're
we are going to dabble into. We are going to dabble into the NCAA. It's a sport that I do love. Shout out to the Trojans. Obviously, we got a major. We got upsetted major by Minneapolis, but that being said, it's okay. It's fine. We'll be okay. I haven't had us in the mix this year, but I'm just happy that we're gonna fight, and we still have a chance. Two major games coming on though. We do have a chance because USC Trojans are playing Penn State this weekend. That we can definitely go in there and shut them down, and not shut them down in the way of a blowout, but try to steal the momentum from Penn State, because Penn State is damn looking good. And the major game that I believe the whole nation is on, we have Ohio State versus Oregon, and those two games is, in my opinion, the most exciting games of the week. Obviously, I'm an SC fan, so I'm kind of biased in that take. But Ohio State versus Oregon Ducks, that's going to be a fantastic game. But before we get into those games, and before we cover the NCAA Top 25 as a whole, I do want to ask Adam, because Adam is a Notre Dame fan, and he did lose to Northern Illinois in week 2, but he does have wins against Texas A&M, 20th ranked team in the nation, and they just beat Louisville, the 15th ranked team in the nation at the time. That being said, Notre Dame as an independent, I want to hear Adams. Don't get me copyrighted, Bob. I want to hear Adams' take on Notre Dame's and the playoff potential, and what you think of your team so far this season. Go right ahead. Let's get it.
They're a solid team, but they're not going to win in the playoffs. We're not getting a national title. They just don't have the talent at quarterback. Riley Leonard is, we expected more from Riley Leonard coming out of Duke. I should have expected this from coming from a Duke quarterback, but the point is that he's more of a runner, passer. They're going to be in games. Beating Louisville is what they do, but I'm worried about the Ohio States of the world, those big time teams, USC, Alabama. We still got to compete with those teams if we get to the playoffs at all, right? And I just don't think Riley Leonard will be able to rise to that occasion and elevate the team. The defense is going to be solid. That's what Notre Dame is known for. But when we get into those big games, like I said, if we get to the playoffs, you know what I mean? We still got a lot of football left. But if they get to the playoffs and have to deal with a team like Georgia, do I think they have a chance? I don't think so. But it'll be a fun ride to get there. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll show up in the playoffs and it'll be good. But you look at what Jalen Milroe is doing. You look at how Carson Beck's playing. Some of those other top teams.
Cam Ward out of Miami.
Cam Ward's playing phenomenal football right now. But again, this is the problem with Notre Dame right now. Okay, they flirt with being just good enough, but they don't have the horses to get over the top. And right now, I don't think they have the athlete at quarterback to get them where they need to go. So, we'll see what happens. I could be wrong, but that's just my take.
Well said, well said. I kind of feel the same at my team. Obviously, I didn't know that we was going to start off the season the way we did, beating LSU and smashing Utah State. We definitely had that win in the bag against Michigan, and then Mullins had to go be Mullins. Tackle. That was just sad to watch. We go there, we beat Wisconsin, but we lose against an unranked Minnesota. That basically puts us in a good spot right now. We really have to come in strong against the fourth ranked team in the nation in Penn State, but do we? And that's that this game is going to define our whole season. If we lose this game, we're not going, we can't even chase the playoffs. We are eliminated in my mind. Now if we beat Penn State, we're right back in the mix. We need to win out. We need to beat Penn State. We need to go and beat Notre Dame at the end of the season. If we somewhat make it, being that Ohio State plays Oregon, being that Texas, I believe, still has to see Georgia. There could be a lot of upsets. There could be a lot of 2-loss teams in the playoffs. So with the strength of our schedule as a SC fan, I think if we beat Penn State, we still have a chance. Now, are we automatically going to get in? Absolutely not. We have to win out, and we have to hope for votes. But that being said, I'm going to
listen. USC has a quarterback that's humming right now. If you are a scout, right, and you're watching, these are the games you talk about when drafting a guy. Will Miller Moss be able to weather the storm that Penn State throws at him to get his team over the hump? Because essentially what it's going to need to do is your defense can play lights out, but if you can't move the football because your quarterback is inept in college where the spacing is a lot easier, it's going to be hard. I am going to go out on the limb and say Miller Moss puts his name on the map. And after he beats Penn State, it's gonna the draft board that right now, the top 5 guys, top 10 guys, he's gonna creep into. If he's not in that already, he's gonna creep into that and creep up the ladder. Because when you're evaluating, and he has a good school behind him in USC. If you win that game, that holds a lot of water in draft circles. So I'd like to see how he does against Penn State. Drew Aller also has a chance to rise at the draft board if he comes out and beats SC and has a good performance. Those two guys could be jockeying right now for draft picks right now, whether they are on the cusp of the first or a high second rounder. You're going to see a lot of guys move up, and this game you should keep an eye on because 2 of these guys could end up in blue next year, and it would be interesting to see.
Well,
absolutely.
I'm going to throw this out here to you two guys because I know you two guys, y'all follow college football a lot closer than I do. So since we're all New York Giant fans, I mean, that's one thing we definitely all share in common. Who's the quarterbacks thus far you guys see right now in the college game that you would just absolutely love to see in a New York Giant uniform next season?
The list is pretty long.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the Premium Takes podcast.
I have guys that I like, and I'll give you a lot of them because I think the Giants, they're having a surge right now. We'll talk about them in a few minutes. They could end up with 8 wins, maybe 9 wins. I think I'm going to stick to about 7. I think maybe they get 8 at best, but I don't see them getting any more. So I think they'll finish around middle of the draft, if not top 10, unless something epic happens, like Daniel gets injured or something like that, and they go on epic collapse. I can see them having a chance at a quarterback. So here are some of the guys I like. I like Miller Moss right now as a back end, second round guy. Like if the Giants wanted to bring him in and kind of groom him, he has a lot of traits that you love, but there's some things that you need to figure out with him. He's a little tiny, so we'll see. I'm in love with 2 guys from down near LSU, Ole Miss and LSU. I love Jackson Dart and I love Nussmeier. I love those 2 guys. The Giants. See, the thing is this. There's going to be quarterbacks in this draft that you can take in the second round that could be franchise guys, right? Jackson Dart, Nussmeier, if those guys are in the late first round conversation, second round conversation, Giants should go up and get them. because you can develop him. Think about this: you got Jackson Dart or Nussmeier in here developing. You can use Daniel Jones as your bridge quarterback if you want, because he's still under contract, and you'll be able to trade out of that contract at some point because it's not on the books anymore, right? So Jackson Dart's a name to keep an eye on. There's another one that I know. There's a kid from Indiana. I think it's Indiana University. I think his name is Rourke. I forget what his first name is. I think it's Curtis Rourke. I could be wrong, but his last name is Rourke. I know that for sure. He's having a solid season. If people know the name Rourke, Giants had Nathan Rourke, his brother, in training camp. I looked him up and I saw his numbers.
Continue, Adam.
Rourke is, he's a sleeper guy that might move up draft boards. I'm not in love with Jalen Milroe. A lot of people love Milroe for the Giants. I still have my doubts about him, just in case of a thrower, and not trying to be biased. But I believe you have to win in the pocket and then be able to scramble and run, right? So if he can refine some of his mechanics, it'll help him down the road, and obviously winning games is going to skyrocket his stock. The top guy. I mean, Shedeur Sanders. I like Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's going to come to New York just because Deion Sanders is his dad, and I just think for him, even though New York is a flashy place and maybe that's a spot he could end up landing, Deion Sanders' presence will be known, right? He is, even if he's a college coach, he won't have any affiliation technically with that team, so he can say whatever he wants. And I don't know if they want that distraction right now, especially if you were to keep, let's say, Daniel for a year, you wouldn't want Shedeur Sanders. I mean, I like Shedeur Sanders. All I'm saying is his dad might come with him, but he's probably going to go to the Raiders. That's a team that'll like him. And Cam Ward is what I absolutely love. If the Giants found a way to get Cam Ward on their team, you talk about a guy. We talk about quarterbacks a lot, right? And I think the problem that I have with a lot of people is we always want to poo-poo what greatness, right? For example, the quarterback the Giants are playing this week is having a great season, Joe Burrow. But we're going to poo-poo everything that he does because nobody wants to be great, right? And, he didn't win a championship, or he didn't do this, or he didn't do that. My eyes tell me what my eyes tell me. And Cam Ward has the capabilities that you look for. He threw some interceptions. He looked like garbage. And then he goes down and throws a touchdown pass for you at the end of the game, right? Some of the traits you look for. Elevating your team, we talk about that a lot, and everyone wants to use it. It's an open term, but you can see it on quarterbacks. You watch Brett Favre, you watch John Elway. When those guys were out, the drop-off was significant, right? So, I know we're talking about college football. Let me just try to stick with there, but I was just giving examples. So those are a couple of guys. And I'm not a Carson Beck fan, not one, because he looks like Napoleon Dynamite, but two, because I just think I don't know if that's the guy that the Giants want.
Carson Beck is a certified fourth rounder. We can just land the plane there. That being said, I'm sorry to cut you off. Adam. That being said, I do mostly agree with what Adam said. Outside of that, I will give it to you in my take. I think as far as Nussmeier down in LSU, I think Nussmeier is good. I just think he comes out next year with your Nikos of the world, with your Orches of the world. Speaking of which, I am gonna probably agree with him on the Miller Moore situation. This is a guy that is now partnered with Lincoln Riley, the Baker Mayfields, the Kyler Murrays, the Caleb Williams, the Jalen Hurts. Those are quarterbacks that come to mind when you think of Lincoln Riley. If USC somehow does something this year and makes something of themselves, Lincoln Riley always gets phone calls. But I believe, I don't know. I love this young stud we have behind Miller Moss. Maybe Lincoln Riley stays for this young stud we have behind Miller Moss. But that being said, he will be probably receiving some phone calls about offensive coordinator positions in the NFL.
I love Quinn Ewers as well. Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers is a guy that's higher on my list, and I love that you just mentioned him as well. So I probably have Miller Moss right now sitting at 5. He can probably what Adam just said earlier, coming out there showing the nation he can beat teams like Penn State will really highlight him and move him higher in the draft board. Coming in 4th place is Sanders. I think Sanders is an outstanding player, but I just think it's gonna be difficult. He has to go to the right situation. It's almost like
he'll be good. He'll be good.
He's gonna be good, but at the end of the day, it's there's better quarterbacks coming out with his class, and I just think. Wow. I really do. I just think that the quarterbacks above him on my list is can produce in the NFL better than that Sanders could in the first couple of seasons. I think Sanders has the opportunity to become really great in the NFL, but I think he's gonna get off to a slower start. I do have Cam Ward, and I'll put 3 and 2, and I just tie them together. I have Cam Ward the same level I have Corinne. I think both players right now could command the NFL offense and move the football down the field and get touchdowns. Obviously, both players make mistakes, but both players shows that they can play. What my eyes show me is both players are showing that they will take the next step and they'll be able to play at the next level. And then to top off my list, I have Jalen Monroe. I mean, like I honestly, if the Giants was somehow able to get Monroe, I pair him with Neighbors. I mean, like that equals greatness. We have a quarterback that can move when he needs to move. We have a quarterback that can get the ball downfield when he can get the ball downfield. I know I criticize Lamar Jackson all the time about calling his own number, and I'm like, bro, just be more accurate with throwing the ball downfield. Then he comes out on Sunday and he makes this amazing throw where he like stiffs arm a guy twice and he beams it to Likely and Likely catches it. I'm like, that's Lamar Jackson we love. That's Lamar Jackson that Baltimore can have hope for. You know, when you look at other quarterbacks around the league, you have you have Kyler Murray, you have Jalen Hurts doing what they're doing, and honestly, you know, we even see our guy a DJ call his own numbers. I wish he learned how to slide, but that being said, that's a story for another time. But when you get to levels like Lamar Jackson, when you get to that kind of levels, and a young rookie that we're all watching in Washington and Jaden Daniels, when your quarterbacks can do that with their legs, that changes the game automatically. And I honestly think Cam Ward definitely can, but I think Monroe is if somehow, obviously, I do believe that he is going to be up there. He's going to be probably the number 1 or number 2 pick, but definitely I have him going in the top 2 for sure. I don't know if teams really value Travis Hunter high enough to take him number 2, but I think it might go Cam Ward or Monroe. But that being said, those are on my list, but I could honestly I've been texting a group of my friends on PlayStation about this, and I love the fact that Adam brought it up. Don't be surprised, guys. I'm not trying to pull any racist, not race cord or anything like that, but don't be surprised, man, if our owner falls in love with Miller Moss. Like, don't be surprised at all, because the reason why I say that is the Giants never really finish in a position where we can pick high in the draft or high enough to get one of these elites like a Cam Ward or like a Jalen Monroe. And I'm not saying they're elite in the NFL, but these college elites. But Miller Moss is going to be in a position where when we're on the board and we really have to think about our future, maybe we pick just outside the top 10, or maybe we pick, maybe who knows, maybe we make the playoffs this year. But what I'm trying to say is, those quarterbacks, Jackson Dort, like Adam brought up too, that is going to be there.
That's the guy.
That is going to be there. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, finish your point. I
was going to land this plane. I'll pull it right over to you. That's the kind of quarterbacks that can really come in here at a high level. You don't have to start them right away. Sit, but when they're finally ready, can produce. And if you take the Green Bay approach, look at Jordan Love. Enough said. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, Jackson Dart, the reason why I say things like this is because if you looked at Daniel Jones when he was coming out, there were parallels. There was things that were known about him, right? We were in the sweepstakes last year of Drake May. I wonder why we know Drake May. Wasn't Eli Manning around Drake May, sniffing around that guy, helping him out? Well, guess what? Same thing is happening with Jackson Dart. He hangs out with Eli Manning. He goes to Eli Manning's old school. There's a lot of connections there. I would not be surprised if the Giants find a way to pick that guy. They may not go in the first round if he can sneak, because I could see him being a fringe first rounder and people saying, I like his height, whatever, blah, 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 right? Because people, they ping people for whatever now. I think there's going to be at least 10, I think there's going to be at least 8 guys to 10 guys that can go in the first and second round of this draft that are going to be coming out this year. You may not get the value like the Penix Jr. guys, but you can get a lot of guys that are going to be in the NFL for a long time. Jackson Dart, he's got it. He's got it all. He can run. He can move around the pocket. He's got a strong arm. He's exactly what the Giants look for in their profile. Now, I had a conversation with somebody about this, right? And I know a lot of people are like, well, the Giants, they have a preference. Yeah, they have a preference. Okay, is their preference always the one that's out there? No, right? Like they have a preference sometimes. Does it mean they are always going to stick to it? No, but it's a preference. It doesn't mean they're racist. It just means think of a person you're dating, right? You have a preference, what they want to look like, who you want to hang out with, whether it's with their clothes or whatever it is. The Giants have they're not, I don't think that's racism. I think they just have a preference on certain things. Now, does that mean they have a closed mind and they're not going to go scout? No, they went and scout Michael Penix Jr. They scouted Jaden Daniels. And Dable even said, I would trade for Jaden Daniels, right? And he even fits their profile. If you really want to
look at it too, right? It's a perfect point you made with preference, because the Giants have a history of winning with their style of football, a strong defense, a quarterback that can stay in the pocket, that can read the field. And I love the fact that you use preference. And I'm sorry to cut you off here, but I will say this. I have the Giants in 3 different scenarios, right? We completely shed out the rest of the season, which I don't think is going to happen because our defense is weighted pretty highly in a lot of different categories. So shout out to Shane and shout out to the boys that finally have something moving. Will it hold up against stronger teams? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I have it in 3 different situations, right? We completely shut the fuck out, excuse my French, and we finish in the top 7 picks, and we somehow figure out a way to move up and get someone like a Cam Ward or get someone like a Moreau. The second situation is we finish with a mediocre record, maybe with 7 to 9 wins. We don't make the playoffs, and we'll put ourselves in a position maybe we pick just outside the top 10, maybe from 11 to 17, and we put ourselves maybe in the Miller Moss conversation where we can go out there and grab someone like Miller Moss if he doesn't completely shut the bed, or if he doesn't completely go on a complete tear and puts himself into the top 10 of draft position. I see Miller Moss, and then we make the playoffs. We finish with a good record. Maybe we win a wild card game and we get eliminated and we pick high medium to high 20s. Maybe we go with someone like Jackson Dort. And I really do believe what Adam says. He is a high first, early second round quarterback. And the more time goes on, there's a quarterback that I do love that played in Mililani, that absolutely went on the tear in Oklahoma. Not really, but I'm just gonna say that because he's a good quarterback, and he's the number 1 rated quarterback right now in a sense of PBR, like his percentage passing is Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. Nobody's talking about him, but the thing is with Dylan Gabriel, the size. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And as much as I wanna say Dylan Gabriel can be an NFL quarterback, his height is basically what's probably gonna cost it. So that's why I left them out of all my lists, and that's why I think Oregon's a good college
team. Play football.
Oh, he plays football. Mac, I agree with what you said.
Because Drew Brees was a 2nd round pick because of his height. I'm just saying.
How about we
do this? A 2nd round.
How about we do this? maybe he'll be a 2nd rounder because he'll drop only because Bryce Young is dropping right now. Right. And the last small quarterback that threw for a lot of yardage, wasn't quite picked high. So he could possibly be a steal. There's another guy named Jaron Hall who played a lot, who people thought was good, or Sam Howell. Right. So he may still be drafted. He still could play. But this game against Ohio State might change a lot of people's opinions about him. He goes in there and beats Ohio State, and they win in a big way, and they're looking like, oh, they can beat this team and win the Natty. That might change everybody's view. Okay, so I'm not taking anything away. I agree with you, Mac, but all I'm saying is because of Kyler Murray is one guy that's succeeding in the league. Baker Mayfield, kind of that same height. Drew Brees, like you said, there are these guys that can play football. And
sure.
I wouldn't be surprised again if after the 1st round, if he's there sitting there in the 2nd, and I'm the Giants, why not take a flyer on the guy, right? If you want to.
I would say this too. Like I want Mac to get his prediction about this game too. But like I know you guys heard me shouting Oregon before the season begins. I think Oregon is a well prepared team. I think they're a well coached team. I think the coach is one of the top coaches in college, at least top 10 for sure. In Dan. And I think Oregon is ready to compete for a national championship this year. Dylan Gabriel, like I said, he's completing over 80% of his passes. He's a high-level football IQ football player. He has wide receivers to match. He has a defense to match. And Oregon started off slow, but they're getting their momentum. And now they have a big test, one of the biggest tests that they ever probably have in the Big Ten, because Ohio State is the top team in the Big Ten. So that being said, even though Michigan is not our national championship, Ohio State beat Ohio State. So it's like they're the dogs. Come on, everybody. When you think of Big Ten, you think of Ohio State. That being said, they have a really huge test upon them, and I think, to Mac's point and to your point, Adam, if Dylan Gabriel comes out, I have them beating Ohio State. I have actually this rematch happening in the Big Ten championship game, and I have Ohio winning there. So I have Oregon beating Ohio, giving Ohio their first loss, and then I have Oregon finishing the season undefeated, and then I have Ohio beating Oregon in the Big Ten national championships, and both teams make it into the tournament, and then who knows, maybe that third match comes in the tournament. But for this game, I just think that Ohio State, as much as I respect them, I think I'm gonna say this: Ohio State is the best roster in all of the land right now. There's no roster that you can put up against Ohio State that I could say could, Georgia, I thought was it until Alabama came in and Alabama showed them what's up. Now Georgia still has the heart to. I think if Georgia meets Alabama again, they're beating Alabama. But people would say Georgia. People might even say Texas. Texas has a bomb roster. They have a quarterback that is deservedly so of a Heisman one, gets injured, and they have Arch Manning as their backup. Okay, so Texas is loaded too, and they have a defense and they have wide receivers. But I just truly feel that Ohio State has the best roster in college football right now. But I think Oregon is not that far behind, and I think sometimes it doesn't come down to rosters. Ask Florida State, coming in as the 10th ranked team. There's Florida State now. Sorry if you're a Florida State Sentinel fan. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to the boys. I want to get their prediction on Oregon versus Ohio, and then I'm going to ask Mac if he can start it up with just the NFL talk and then picks of the week. That being said, we can go team by team, but I do want Mac to get some time on the mic as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Adam and then pass it over to Mac for your predictions: Ohio State versus Oregon University, and they're flying to Oregon. I believe the game is going to be at Eugene. Go right ahead, Adam. I don't think Adam's here. I know you don't really watch college football, but do you have a prediction against Oregon? Both teams coming in 5-0, Mac. Flying to you, Ohio State actually. Sorry, flying to Oregon to play a big Big Ten game. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I don't really, like you said, I don't follow very closely, but Ohio State, they got a lot of big game experience. I mean, not to say Oregon doesn't, but Ohio State's just, to me, they're usually a contender every year. A legit contender every season. So, all I can do is base it
does look
off
like
of
Adam's
that.
back too. So after you're done, just pass it back over to Adam. Sorry to interrupt.
Go with Ohio State, man. So I just go with Ohio State there.
I love it. That's
Plus,
a great pick.
Better. Hey, I kind of hate that bright green shit.
Well, I don't like gray and red, so I'm going to go with Oregon. No, I'm going to go with Oregon, be a little different. And I'm going to do it just because you brought up Dylan Gabriel, right? And we brought up draft stock and things like this. Again, big game. Let's see what he can do. If this guy can really, you said he was flying under the radar. He beats Ohio State. Guess what? Beep, 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 that radar is going to start going off. So, Max said it best. If he plays football, if he checks some boxes, he could be there. Let's see what the kid can do. This is probably his biggest test. I think it was with the Sooners. I think he's a transfer to Oregon, right? So, Bo Nix got drafted in that system, in that area. You go under the same kind of coaching and tutelage. They know how to pick those quarterbacks.
That's a great coach.
So let's see if this will elevate his game and his stock. Because, again, guys like Miller Moss, guys like Dylan Gabriel, you haven't heard much about them. But if they start to win and put the season together, and let's say the dust settles and we're talking Heisman, and those three guys are now in the Heisman race, that's something that is really going to elevate you. Look what Jaden Daniels did, right? he was an absolute nobody until he became somebody.
Remember it was it was Tua's year, like Tua was it, and then was it Joe Burrow that had the season? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah.
You never. Jaden Daniels last year came out of nowhere. People had thought he was bad out of Arizona. Bo Nix came out of nowhere last year. Put 2 good years together. This guy Dylan Gabriel going to Oregon on national TV. He can put his name on the map, and he could be a guy that gets. Maybe he sneaks in. Again, there's going to be a lot of solid quarterbacks in this draft. People, there's no excuse for teams not to pick one in the first or second round. There's not going to be an excuse this year because there's going to be guys who can play football. And if you don't want to invest high in the stock, you got to invest anyways. Might as well get a guy with high upside like a Dylan Gabriel or a Miller Moss, who you are seeing making NFL throws, seeing big time plays from them for guys their size. So just keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and we'll end it with this too. Like, just think of how, like, obviously we gave you guys our list of our quarterbacks that we do like, but when we say underrated, I'm gonna just read these stats, and I believe if it wasn't for Dylan Gabriel's size, he would be mentioned with the top quarterbacks on this list. He's 130 out of 167 attempts. Keep that in mind. That's a passer rating of 168.9. For 1,449 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, I get it. That's 3 interceptions on 11 touchdowns. That's not really the that's what we rave about in college football, and that 1,400 yards ain't woo-woo in college football. What we're looking at here is the completions per attempts and the passing rating. That's why he's one of the top. He completes majority of his passes, and that's counting drops, that's counting mishaps, that's counting tip balls. You guys get what I'm saying there. That being said, we are about coming up on our first hour of the show. We don't know how long we're gonna go today, maybe an hour and a half, maybe we might push that 2-hour mark. But that being said, let's open it up to NFL talk. I know we have major things going on in the world of the Giants and the world of in the world of the NFL, but I just wanted to start off by saying this. I know there's some talks about Malik Neighbors not practicing and going to a Travis Scott concert. Obviously, everybody has their opinions on it. Everybody can get mad. Everybody cannot care. I will say this. My opinion on it is do what you want, bro. Do what you want. You're a grown adult. You can do whatever you want. Would I advise you going to a concert a week and a half after a concussion when your brain needs to heal and loud noise, especially a Travis Scott concert? No, I absolutely would not advise that. But at the end of the day, who am I to tell Malik Neighbors as a fan what to do? I understand why fans are mad because we pay him to play football and we don't want a concert to deteriorate him from playing in football. But at the end of the day, I don't think a concert would. So yes, it's a bad move by Malik Neighbors. That's not a good sign. It's like if I was to call it off of work and then my boss was to see me at the club, like, what the fuck's going on here?
That's exactly what it is.
So
that way, that's exactly what it is. I agree with what you're saying. You don't need to be mad. But when you're out and you get a DNP today for not practicing, and then you have a concussion, which means you have to kind of, be in dark rooms and things like that, and you're going to a Travis Scott concert where you're going to probably be jamming out and rocking your head back and
it's
forth.
Travis Scott we talking
right?
about.
So
yeah.
The look is not good, Malik. Somebody needs to get in that motherfucker's ear and be like, "Yo, I don't think you should have posted this."
Pure classes.
Because I'm just saying, I'm not saying you can't go out and do something. That's not the problem here. The problem is the optic is you're injured. You didn't practice for 2 days. So now if you don't show up on Friday, tomorrow, and they put DNP, you're probably not playing. So what does that mean? So are you good or are you not good? Because you're at a Travis Scott concert, me as a fan thinks your ass is good, get in the game. Now, if the Giants lose this game because they don't have Neighbors, right? And he could have possibly made a difference in the game, right? Let's say, the Bengals, who don't have a great defense, right? And we might as well just talk about this game since we're already knee deep in it, right? If the Bengals somehow come up with some defense and stop this, and you can see that the offense is it didn't have trouble last week, but maybe has a little trouble this week hitting the deep balls and things like that. Well, guess what? That's not going to be a good look. Receivers in the Giants doing things is not a good look, okay? Like, we had Odell on the boat. We had Odell on the little, like the Instagram with the girls and the white substance and the pizza. And now we have you at the strip club, and now you at the damn concert. I wouldn't care if you were healthy. Hell, I wouldn't have cared if it was last week because you have 10 days off to football. But you are literally in injury protocol, and you're doing something. It's not like you're going to the library and saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to catch up on my, audiobooks today. No, you're going to a Travis Scott concert where there's going to be you're going to be young and irresponsible. That's what you're going to do. Okay? If you're going there, that's what you're going to do. It's funny. Plaque shoots himself. I mean, receivers are going out with this team. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just. Anyway,
well.
let's get it. Let's hear what Mac has to say, and then maybe we'll start with this game, and then kind of go throughout the rest of the NFL.
I mean, look. I guess I see it a little differently. Look. I would think your own self. You know what I mean. Your limitations. I think there could be more behind all of this. Honestly, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist a little bit. I think there could be a little bit more behind all of this. Maybe he's cleared concussion protocol truthfully, and there's something else that we just don't know. I don't know because I just find it kind of weird. I mean, it's been a while. And I know concussions, everybody doesn't get over them all the same way, but you would like to think that by now he should have cleared concussion protocol. I'm hoping this kid doesn't have some kind of maybe issue, like a neck issue or something.
Oh, you're saying another injury that they're trying to play on, like hide?
Yes, I thought so too. The neck.
I'm thinking it could be something to that effect. Because I'd like to think that this kid has enough sense that if he really truly is concussed, wouldn't be going to a Travis Scott concert. I don't think people with a concussion feel like going to a Travis Scott concert. I think that's not something they kind of want to really do. But
more drama.
But I mean, look, we don't have the facts. All we know is what we're being
I will say
told.
This.
So that's just where I'm at with it.
I will say this, but as a Giants organization, though, I mean, like, I don't know what is in the water down in Louisiana, but you guys can breathe wide receivers, okay? And I will say this, man. We can get into Chase a little bit later, how him and Joe Burrow is averaging, 13.7 yards per attempt. It's crazy down there in Baltimore. In the Bengals. But then we have, also Justin Jefferson as one of the premier wide receivers in the league. Brian Thomas right there in Jacksonville doing big things. And we have Malik Neighbors. The guy's a dog. We all can see it. And I hope by all means, if it is something bothering, if it is another injury, please hold him out as much as you want because he is 20 and we want him for the future. And we don't want to injure a 20-year-old trying to make New York Giants a playoff contender this year. I'm not even trying to throw the season. That's not what I'm saying. Is I want our dogs to be healthy. I don't want our dogs to Jimmy Butler it per se, because you know. Go ahead.
What's interesting is that the receiver in the Giants had an injury like this his rookie year, with a neck injury. That didn't look like it was bad, but a guy slid into his neck area while he was trying to get up from a catch. Ike Hilliard against the Jaguars. He came out the first game, gangbusters, looking great, and then he kind of hit the ground, and some guy kind of hit him in the knee, and it was just enough to throw his back out where he was out for the year. The way that Malik Neighbors' neck landed and he went out cold for a while, it does look like a concussion, but maybe you guys are on something, because I'm telling you right now, regardless of how it looks, it's a bad look already for the Giants because this guy was injured. It doesn't matter if he's healthy. I could care less, right? LT went out all the time, right? But you're quote unquote injured. You didn't practice. The Giants could get in trouble for this if they're hiding an injury and he's sitting there and he comes out and play. Like there's a lot that is going on here that could happen if things get done. So I don't want to make too big a deal of it because obviously it's not that big a deal. But the thing
that's right. I don't want to start rumors just to start rumors too. I'm not saying we're starting rumors. I'm just saying I hope the Giants organization is smart enough So, and I'm not saying you, Mac. I'm just saying I hope the Giants organization is smart enough that if something is really
I'm
going on
not
with
putting it
him,
out
they
there
report
like
it to the
that's
league.
news. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah,
what I'm thinking is something
No, no,
going on.
yeah.
Not
No, facts. We
no,
know,
no.
we
I'm
know,
not.
we
I'm
I'm
know.
not
not
We're
putting
saying.
it
not
I'm
out
saying.
not
there.
saying you are, Mac. I'm not
Yeah,
saying you
yeah.
are.
No, not saying
I'm saying.
that.
I'm saying to you that it's interesting that you brought that up because I had a similar thought that he had a neck injury. Because if you watch, Tay did, the defender kind of pushes his back. So I don't know how much force he pushes him with or is trying to brace himself, but that also might have, caused something. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he has a bulging disc, or something like that. Something that may not be career threatening, but you have to sit out a few weeks. You know what I mean? Maybe you have a pinched nerve,
Yeah.
that you're dealing with because he went from training on the side, running on the side on Wednesday to riding the bike on Thursday and out at a Travis concert Thursday night. So, and I think he got a DNP if I'm not mistaken, which means you did not practice. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
he did
surprised. And
not
then
practice.
then Kayvon Thibodeau out of nowhere has a broken hand. It's like, man, I
I
understand
hope. I
this.
hope we. I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna pass the mic right back to you. But I'm just gonna say, I hope we can somewhat get through all these injuries and come back on the field because we do have a big game with the team of Cincinnati Bengals. I know they're flying to New York, but why don't we just get back into it? And then I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna pass the mic right over to you, Adam, and then you can continue saying what you're saying, and you can pass it over to Mac. But I'm gonna share the screen. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Giants. We have the Giants defense. These are just some notes I took on this game, and then I'll pass it over to you. The Giants defense is actually looking legit for the first 5 weeks of the season. We have Daniel Jones with over 100 passing rating, 257 yards, and 2 touchdowns over a Seattle Seahawks team that was 3-1. So we see if the Giants offense can take advantage of Cincinnati's defense, that secondary that absolutely been sucking this season. Our defense, does it show up? Does our defense show up against Joe Burrow and Lamar Chase? They have 13.7, averaging 13.7 yards per attempt, only second behind C.J. Stroud and Nichols over in the Houston Texans, and Jordan Love and Jaden Reed that has 17.8. The Bengals secondary led up for touchdowns against Lamar Jackson. A mobile quarterback, Daniel Jones, is mobile. The big topic of the game is Malik Neighbors. Does he play? Is he in? Is he out? And Robertson, does Robertson step up again? And Tyrone Tracy, those are some key players that we are going to keep our eyes on this game, along with injuries on our D line, as Adam just spoke about. And then we do also have Tyrone Tracy. Sorry, not Tyrone Tracy. I mentioned him, but Theo Johnson emerging as he's looking like he can be a tight end in the NFL. Big topic of the game for my mind is, does our defense show up, and does our defense is able to stop a high-flying Cincinnati offensive Bengals? So that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Adam. I will allow him to say his piece first, and then hand it over to Mac because it's been a while since Mac talked. But that being said, go ahead, Adam.
This team, the Bengals, can boat race you. They can score in bunches and quickly. And the Giants have had some trouble against the hurry-up offense and precision quarterbacks who are playing well. Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, a few other Jaden Daniels, right? So what the Giants need to do defensively is kind of figure out what they're going to do, because Joe Burrow, is not afraid of the blitz. Obviously, Baltimore blitzed him last week, and he did his thing for almost 400 yards. So you're going to have to pick your poison on defense, how you want to stop them. On offense, you have to score touchdowns. I know they got away with it this week in Seattle. And if you take away the block punt, which, again, you can't really do, but if you're talking about offensive points, which is a different unit than the special teams, right? They all contribute to it. The Giants had one touchdown. They're not very good in the second half of getting touchdown. They got 1 and 3 field goals. A team like the Bengals, if you let them hang around, they're gonna score. Next thing you know, you're playing from behind. So if you got a chance to put on their throat, do it. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I picked the Giants yesterday. No Mets knows that. I like both. These are two of my favorite teams. One on the AFC, Cincinnati, not off to a good start. Giants off to an okay start. If they end up in a tie, I'll be happy, but that's not good. That's not good TV. But but I'm gonna enjoy watching the Bengals because I don't get to see them the same way. And the Giants, they're on prime time. I see them all the time, and it's not that I'm not rooting for the Giants. I like football, so I want to see how Joe Burrow does, and just watch a team I'm not familiar with. Right? They don't always play Cincinnati every year, so I've watched many matchups with Jeff Blake versus the Giants. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup between Joe versus Daniel.
It should be fun, but again, if this comes back where they don't have the horses to keep up, because everyone's talking about Jamar Chase, that's the guy. That's not the guy that scares me. T. Higgins is the guy that scares me. He's the guy that I know the Giants did pretty well against the receivers of Seattle. These receivers are different. They're a different breed. They're a different kind of element.
T. Higgins, after starting the season, injured, he is getting his foot back, and he's having bigger and bigger games. So
right, and so that's the guy that concerns me. The Giants on defense don't get a lot of turnovers. They don't intercept the ball. It's kind of something weird like that. I see them make tackles, but I don't see them intercepting the ball, right? And it's not a bad thing, but I think you're going to see some of that because of the blitzing. They're going to play a little bit off coverage a little bit so they can get in front of the receivers and run with them because they are fast. And if they get the ball, they're probably going to try to limit the yak yardage. I don't think the Giants want to get beat over the top, so I think they're going to play their corners soft, but they're still going to bring the heat, with their front seven, and see if they can get Burrow to speed up his clock and leave a safety back so they don't get burned. They rather have the Bengals march downfield and eat up clock and the defense stop them than them scoring quickly. But the one weakness the Giants have had the last few weeks is the hurry up. So let's see what they can do, Mac.
Well, I mean, yeah, we did just discuss this yesterday evening, obviously, and my mind is I still feel the same way. I think the defense is going to be the difference in this game. I think the New York Giants, this is a week where the New York Giants just should not have to rely on the blitz anyway. I mean, I think this is an offensive line the New York Giants should be able to get some wins against just with the front four. I feel confident in Azeez Ojulari stepping in for Kayvon Thibodeau, and obviously I feel confident in Brian Burns. And Dexter Lawrence, like I said it last night, he's a game wrecker, man. This guy's just going to continue to wreck games, and I think he's going to do it again this week against the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. I think it's going to be too much to handle. I think the Giants up front are going to be a little too much to handle, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. I mean, I know Joe Burrow's great. I know he gets the ball out quick, but I think we're going to get to him. We're going to rattle his cage a little bit, and I think it's going to be the difference. And I think Daniel Jones offensively will just continue to do what he's been doing, I think, which is, I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's not blowing anybody away with his numbers, but he's been managing the game well. I mean, for the most part, he hasn't been making the huge mistakes. He hasn't been coughing the ball up. So, I mean, I think he'll continue to do just what he's doing, which has been just enough. And ultimately, all that matters is the W. And whether it's by 1 point or whether it's by 20 points, it's all going to still be the same W. It ain't going to mean anything more. So, I just think the New York Giants continue to win the same way that they've been winning, or the same way that they won a couple games that they have won, just, playing pretty good, clean football. And I think the defense is going to come up big here. I mean, I like what the rookies are doing. Tyler Nubin has really been stepping it up. And Drew Phillips getting his feet back wet again, came back in last week. And I think he'll just continue to grow like he was in the first couple of games before he got injured. I think the defense is definitely going to be the difference here, and I like the New York Giants to win Sunday night.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, and I'm going to ride on that take as well. I think we do come and we actually get around 4 to 5 sacks in this game. To answer your question, Mets. Speaking of Daniel Jones, I'm not overly high. I'm not overly low. I think he's doing his job. I think he's doing what a 6-year quarterback should do. So everybody that's getting overexcited on Daniel Jones, salutes you. But at the end of the day, he's 6 years in the league. I think if someone wants to get overexcited about that guy down in Washington doing what he's doing. I think Jaden Daniels, obviously, I'm hard on these quarterbacks. I want to see him keep on doing what he's doing against some of the better defenses in the league. But like I said, like you guys said, Adam said on your guys' show yesterday, Jaden Daniels is a rookie, and he's already doing high things for a rookie. So I love seeing that. Not to take anything away from Daniel Jones. I just wanted him to continue doing what he's doing. Go out there, have fun playing the game that you love, man. The media hated you. The fans hate on you. I hate on you. Everybody hates on you. But at the end of the day, go out there, man, and let the defense do them, because they're gonna have your back, and you do you, man, and just have fun out there. I love seeing highlights where Dexter Lawrence is screaming on the sideline and Daniel Jones is getting the touchdown, and they're having fun out there, and that's all we need, man. We just go back to enjoying the game that you love, and I think he's getting more comfortable doing that. The draft, the quarterbacks, we can talk about that a little bit later, as far as we just did. But in my mind, I just want Daniel Jones to go out there and have a good game, because at the end of the day, I'm a Giants fan and I want to see us win. I think a Cincinnati team that is flying to us, it's going to be, I believe it is going to be kind of cold up there in MetLife, and obviously it's not that big of a difference in weather where they're from. But I just think at home, our defense has this fans in the mix. I want to see Tyrone Tracy emerge as a top running back of this team. I think he has the ability to carry the football. I just love when later round picks make a name in the NFL, because this sport is so hard to play. And when, sometimes our eyes are just on that first round and that second round, the superstar players. I love seeing players that come out later and make a name for themselves. And I believe we have two on this team, in Theo Johnson and in Tyrone Tracy, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Daniel Jones absolutely needs to have a great game, and no Manson absolutely should have 3 touchdowns against a secondary that is not the best. As far as that goes, I do want to move on to different games, and let's just I'm probably going to preview the Seattle and 49ers game last, but I just want to have you guys do a fast run through, because we are approaching. Oh, actually, it's not that too bad, but I know you guys gotta probably get going soon, and I gotta get going soon. So that being said, we don't want to take too long on these picks. So what I'm gonna say is, let's just pick a team. I want you guys to pick a team, and then I want you guys to take upwards to 30 seconds to a minute explaining why you picked that team, and then we'll just move on to the next game. That being said, we're gonna start at Mac. Mac, we got Jacksonville Jaguars, Chicago Bears.
I got the Bears here. I just think Jacksonville is. Just don't believe the hype, man. I mean, I know they finally got off the schneid, got a dub, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't, they're a weak unit, and I don't believe in them. And Caleb Williams looks like he's like Chicago.
I love it. Adam? Jacksonville,
I agree with Mac. I'm going to take the Bears. Caleb is starting to cook. That defense is playing outstanding, and Jacksonville, while they got a win, and that's good, and maybe they'll come out and play a little better. I think it's too little, too late for them, and the Bears going to win.
I absolutely agree with both of you guys' takes. I don't even need to waste my time. I'm going to have a Chicago as well. Oh man, I believe this might be the game of the week right here. I honestly, I'm not even trying to be like this, but this should have been the primetime game. I love seeing the Giants on primetime, but this is what everybody's going to have their eyes on. We have Washington Commanders versus Baltimore Ravens. Who you got, Adam?
Well, I picked the upset last night, so I'm going to stick with the upset this week. I'm going to go with the Commanders, riding the hot hand of Jaden Daniels. He comes in, and even though Lamar Jackson's having an MVP-like year, I think this game will be exciting. I know it's outlandish, but hey, I'm going to do that.
I love that. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I took Baltimore. I just think this is the kind of come a little down to earth game for Jaden Daniels a little bit. I think he'll still play well, but I just think Baltimore is going to be a little too much for Washington. I think they're going to come out there and run the ball down and throw a little bit, exploit that defense, and I like Baltimore here.
Absolutely love you guys' takes, and I'm gonna have to agree with Mac on this. I think Jaden Daniels is in the running for MVP. I think the kid has shown that he is kind of like a CJ Stroud. He is gonna have his name in this league for a long time, and I know that is early on in the season. It's only been 5 games, but he shows skills that can take him and play and take Washington to the next level. That being said, though, he is going against a Baltimore Ravens team that kind of got the streak. The fire is growing, and it's gonna keep on growing. And they are now and it was before the season a high tier AFC team, and I think they're going to be starting to play like a high tier AFC team. They finally have a way to utilize. Well, hopefully they're showing that they finally have a way to utilize Derrick Henry in the offense. I don't know why it took them so long to Derrick Henry. Just give him the football. That being said, I think their defense is gonna cause some problems for Jaden Daniels as well. I obviously have this a high scoring game, but I have the Baltimore Ravens edge in the victory. That being said, we have Arizona Cardinals, and speaking of interception, shout out to Xavier McKinley doing what he's doing, looking like a damn all pro on Green Bay Packers right now. Who you got on this, Mac?
Got the Packers, man. I mean, the Cardinals, they've been impressive, man. And they're coming in 2-3, but they haven't been getting pushed around by anybody. But at the end, but I still think the Packers, just what they do offensively, what Jordan Love can do, is I think it's just going to be too much, man. I think they're not. I think Arizona's not going to be able to keep up with what the Packers are able to do, and I like Green Bay here.
I love it. Go right ahead, Adam.
I'm going to go with the Packers as well. I think the Arizona's going to be feisty. They're not lying down. Their quarterback's playing pretty well, and getting them doing what they got to do. So you know what? They're exciting to watch, and let's see what they can do against the Packers, who are not like a world beater, but and we're looking and honestly, a lot of the teams that are playing games like Cardinals should look at the Packers like they're only one game better than us, right? So why can't we win, right? If Cardinals win, their record's the same as the Packers. Same thing with like a team like the Bengals. They win, they're kind of back in a race, so to speak. So, there's going to be motivation all around, but I just think the Packers are just a little too much for the Cardinals.
Absolutely love it. I do love the Cardinals. I do love their defense, and I wish that they would just give the ball to Harrison Murray, get him early involved in that offense, because honestly, that kid is a stud. I do love their tight end McBride, and I do love what Kyler Murray is doing. And they're gonna play any team tough. It doesn't matter if you're Green Bay, it doesn't matter if you're the Chiefs. Arizona is gonna show up. But I just think that the Packers is going to be too much of them. I think Jordan Love is fully back now. Still kind of banged up, but able to throw the football more. And I just think him and Reed has, a dynamic connection that we just talked about. The most yards of quarterback to wide receiver connection so far this season, kind of like Collins and CJ Stroud in Houston. And I do like what the Packers are doing on defense. So I'm going to agree with the boys. Give me the Packers. Whitey, we have Houston Texans versus New England Patriots. And can we just say that can you guys just wear the H-Town uniforms the whole season? Like, that was some sick shit. That being said, though, who you got on
tough.
this, Adam?
They was tough. I agree.
Yeah. Let's get it. Who you got on this, Adam?
Houston. This is a team that if you're Houston, you got to beat. I don't think it's a contest. Drake May, I'm sorry that you have to go up against Houston. Hope you have a decent outing. Don't judge him after this game.
Well said. What you got on this, Matt?
Well, yeah, I got Houston. Drake May getting his first start. This is going to be a tough one, man. So I got Houston.
Absolutely. Yeah, talking about throwing the kid into the fire. Pray for Drake May. That being said, though, we got Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus New Orleans Saints. This is a hidden division game. I don't know if it's hidden, but this is going to be a fun game right here. It's in division. Everybody's looking at the Washington versus
getting his first start.
Ravens game.
Spencer Rattler.
So Matt, who do you got on this game?
Spencer Rattler getting the call. Spencer Rattler getting the call. But I like Tampa Bay here. At Tampa Bay, I just think New Orleans has kind of come back down to earth, man, after the first couple of weeks of the season where they look, amazing, to be quite frank. But they've come back down to earth. And Tampa Bay, they've been playing good, consistent, really solid football. Baker Mayfield's been playing pretty lights out for the most part, man. I like Tampa Bay going down to New Orleans on the road, man, and getting the dub and ruining Spencer Rattler's first start.
Well, I'd like to go and pick the Saints, so I'm going to, but I'm going to give the reason why Tampa Bay is probably going to win. There's a lot going on in their area, down in their Tampa area with family and friends. That tends to rally people together, especially since the Bucks are by themselves now, right? They have only each other to lean on. I think that could be the extra motivation to come out here and slap New Orleans in the face. I'm going to pick New Orleans because I want to see Spencer Rattler do well, but there is a case to be made that Tampa Bay might be on an emotional roller coaster that spills over and kind of reflects how they play on the field. So
I'm gonna have to agree with both of y'all there. I do agree with Adam's take, and that's what I want to make. They're gonna serve the Saints absolutely butt kick. They're gonna kick the Saints, but nothing against Spencer Rattler. I just think that the Saints trajectory is heading downwards rather than upwards, and Tampa Bay got a lot that they're fighting for right now. Not only that, but Baker Mayfield is once again proven why he deserves to be mentioned in the top 10 quarterbacks in this league. And he's been making some good throws, and the defense been stepping up. And the coach, as much as I hated on him, as I never did like him, I'm sorry, man, the guy can coach. So I'm gonna ride it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. And if you guys didn't already, I suggest you go on Amazon Prime and you go watch Eli's show. It's going to be a quarterback disguised every week, shouting with, touring the facility with fans. Baker Mayfield did it last week with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. And you could really see that they really, truly believe with them. And that's sometimes that's all you need for reinsurance. It's like Tua. When Mike McDaniels made him that 600, video montage to believe in himself. When another coach just did it recently that just skipped my mind. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, when Jared Goff, when the stadium is shouting Jared Goff, like LA didn't want you, but I wanted you, Jared Goff. I wanted you. And then when you look at Tampa Bay, where the city of Tampa Bay is basically telling Baker Mayfield, like, thank you, Baker. Like, we want you, Baker. And that sometimes that's all the team takes. And those people know, and I know a lot of people know this, but it's so hidden. Tampa Bay, everybody talks about the San Francisco 49ers because they make it to four this. But Tampa Bay is the only team in the NFC that made the playoffs the last 4 seasons because San Francisco was completely injured in 2020. That being said, Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the single representative of the NFC that made it the last 4 seasons. So I'm gonna just say, not that we're disrespecting them, but put some respect on Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, because they make the playoffs, but they always look like it's just Tampa. You don't have Tom Brady.
Couple of them years they made the playoffs just because somebody from that division had to. I mean, I'm just saying.
Let's get it. We got Cleveland versus Philadelphia. I forgot who I started with last time, so I'm just going to jump over to Mac. I started with Mac last time, so go right ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
I already started now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we got the Eagles here. I think the Eagles going to get it. I think coming off the bye week, there's absolutely no excuse for the Philadelphia Eagles to lose to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, if they do, and I really hope they do. Oh, I really hope they do. But I can't foresee it, man. A.J. Brown back in the lineup, giving Jalen Hurts his favorite target back. I just don't see it. Saquon Barkley, it's going to be too much for the Cleveland Browns that we've seen this season. Yeah, I think the NFC sweep is on with this one right here, man. I think get the NFC East gets a clean sweep of the Cleveland Browns, with the Eagles taking it this week.
Go ahead.
Please don't lose. If they lose,
the Eagles will. I think they're going to win this game. They had 2 weeks to prepare. If you can't beat the Browns, who are reeling, they got a lot of drama in their organization right now. This is a little different than some other teams that are in this position, right? This team is literally reeling. Their quarterback is absolutely atrocious right now. Their line is disarray. Their quarterback their coach doesn't want to play their quarterback. Their owner won't let him sit, so there's a lot going on. His body language tells you a lot. And if they get down big in Philadelphia, good night, the lights. I can see the defense kind of playing hard for a while, and then just the Eagles eventually being too much. If I'm the Eagles, give the ball to Barkley, give it to him, make the game short, make it over quickly, and you'll be done. Jalen Hurst, if you play like you did against Tampa Bay, you will be upset. So I think the Eagles win.
Well said, well said. I do think the Eagles win. I think they're going to overpower the Cleveland Browns defense, and the offense is not going to move the balls on the Philadelphia defense. They're going to move the ball, but not to the extent that they want to. But I will say this, man, in Mac's point and in Adam's point, I mean, like, Myles Garrett, man, like, I'm not trying to say where you at, but I'm trying to say where you at. Like, this is the reason why, like, you get paid the big bucks. I know it's not on you and you only control one side of the football, but at the end of the day, man, you need to come out here and you need to make it a Myles Garrett game. You need to make it a Myles Garrett game. You need to wreck the damn Eagles and have the Cleveland Browns win against the Eagles because of you. I know your quarterback is in disarray. I know the offense looks like shit, but you can literally come and wreck this game for the Philadelphia Eagles and earn your money, Myles Garrett. I'm not saying that you're not earning your money, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's like, literally, please wreck the game and let Jalen Hurts struggle back there. That's just a Giants fan talking. That being said, though, we got the Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. I believe Anthony Richardson has completely cleared. He is going to be playing, and he's going to be playing a tough Titans that is tougher than what the record says. Can I just say this? I do love Callahan. I do love what he's doing. I think he's a great coach. Obviously, he's not. I can't say he's great just yet. I think he's a good coach, and I think he's a coach that is just going to call what he sees. I love what he said a couple weeks ago when Will Levis kind of threw the football up in the air, and it looks like a dumbass move. And he basically told the media that, yeah, that was a dumbass move. He's an adult and he can handle it. I just love how his realness, and I think that's what sometimes, has players playing for you and you having a long NFL career, but can his team win the game? That is the question, right? Can they finish the game? That being said, go right ahead, Adam, and I want to hear your points on this game.
I'll go quickly. I'll take the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson coming back gives them a boost. Will Levis has not played that well. I don't know what they're going to do this week, but I just think the Colts are the better team, and they're going to end up winning and getting back in the race.
Well said, Adam. Mac.
I agree with Adam. The Colts are just a better team, I feel like. And I think they're just going to win. Tennessee they just keep finding ways to lose. I mean, I know they're coming off the bye week, had a couple weeks to prepare, but I don't see it happening. And real quick, no Mets. Yeah, Myles Garrett has been playing injured pretty much since week 2.
Yeah,
he's on the field, man. If he's on the field, that's what it is. That means he feels like he's ready to play. So
that's my point. Like, honestly, like if you're feeling injured, just don't be on the field. Just completely burn the team to the ground. But if you're on the field, like, do something and wreck the team, because I don't want the Eagles to win that game, even though we all think they were. That being said, though, I am going to go against the grain, and I'm going to ride with the Tennessee Titans. I just think that week off kind of remotivated them to we can beat a division opponents in the Colts. Honestly, if I had a gun to my head, I'm riding with Anthony Richardson, but I don't. So I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans, and I'm going to ride with them. That being said, I'm gonna store it. I'm just gonna ride with Los Angeles. As much as I want to respect Denver, I still can't respect Denver. And I think I'm gonna ride with Jim and what Los Angeles is doing. I know Los Angeles is dealing with some key injuries as well. But I like what they're doing down in Los Angeles. Obviously, the Denver Broncos are looking good as well. But I'm gonna ride with Los Angeles. Go right ahead, Matt.
I'm riding with my guy, Bo Nix, in the Denver Broncos. You know Bo Nix is my guy, and I'm riding with him in the Broncos. I mean, everybody been kind of hating on Bo Nix a little bit this season because it ain't been the prettiest. But it's been the last couple of weeks. It's been effective, and that's all that matters. I mean, he played a really, really good game like a week ago. I can't remember who they went against, but I know he had a really strong outing. I mean, his best performance of the season, as a matter of fact. And I like what they're doing right now a little bit over there. I think they're believing in themselves a little bit, man, feeling themselves a little bit, and some things are starting to maybe come together, man. I know they're not the greatest of squads, but I like what Denver's doing, man, a little bit, and I'm going with them, the Broncos.
Wow, cool. I'm gonna just start and the Bo Nix. Interesting that these quarterbacks 3-2. 4-1, 3-2. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix. Wow, what a start to the season for these young quarterbacks out there. If you said you couldn't get one, that was a lie. But I'm going to go with my guy, Justin Herbert, and the Los Angeles Chargers. I think 2 weeks to prepare to kind of get some of the kinks out. J.K. Dobbins is a solid runner. So I think it's gonna be a solid game. Hey, listen, don't you knock on Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, and I will say this: going against the Steelers and the Chiefs back to back, thank God they got a bye week. That being said, we do have the Steelers we were just talking about. I do love the Steelers this season, and we got a Raiders organization that I do love their coach, and I think that their coach is going to be good. It's in the dysfunctional times right now. Obviously, Brock Bowers is stepping up, but the whole quarterback situation, the whole wide receiver situation. Does Adams want to get traded? Is Adams even injured, or does he just not want to play? That being said, I'm going to ride with the Steelers because I think the Steelers is lights out, a way better team than the Raiders this year. But we'll see what happens. Go ahead, Adam.
I don't know if Justin Fields is starting this game or Russell Wilson is. I'm still going to pick Pittsburgh. It doesn't really matter to me. I think whoever's under center doesn't really matter. They played a tough game and lost in the final seconds in heartbreaking fashion to the Cowboys. But this is a game more in their wheelhouse, and I think they just have too much to overtake another team that's kind of in dysfunction mode right now. A little drama. Teams with drama are not going to win, and there's a lot of teams with drama this week. With unnecessary drama. And this team, the Raiders, has unnecessary drama. So I'm going to go with the Steelers.
The Raiders are fucking right now. They're a fucking shit show. This is crazy. This Devontae Adams thing is just gotten blown way out, and it's way too much right now for a team like this. I like what Brock Bowers is doing. I mean, and even Gardner Minshew he's Gardner Minshew. You know what I mean? He's going to give you some moments here and there, and he's going to then revert back and look like the whatever round pick that he was. but I like Pittsburgh here for sure, man. Raiders are a mess, man.
I love it. I think this is gonna be a one-side ass whooping. As much as I want to, say good job, Andy Dalton. Respect on you for coming in there, and I think Bryce Young needs to sit the entire season and take over next season. I don't think you should trade Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is a good quarterback. He just needs a team around him, and he can turn out to be a good quarterback, should I say? Because he's a shit quarterback right now. But Bryce Young, it's good that they sat him. You need to sit the whole entire season, and you need to start him next season. As for Andy Dalton, I don't think Carolina has the firepower to compete with a team like Atlanta Falcons that is obviously they got some injuries, but is starting to feel themselves as well in what kind of football they want to play, and they had some hard matchups lately as well. That being said, give me Atlanta all day, every day. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to give Carolina the benefit of the doubt last week and throw a prediction their way. I ain't doing that same shit again. I ain't making that mistake again. Atlanta Falcons
No.
absolutely destroy this team.
Go ahead, Adam.
You're picking Atlanta? I didn't know if you were picking.
Atlanta.
Yeah, he's going to destroy the Carolina Panthers. He said, "Yeah."
Oh, sorry. I guess I was daydreaming. No Mets. No Mets. They will not trade for Bryce Young. Good thought though, but I don't think the disc giant. Maybe they would. I don't know. It's one of those things you have to wait and see in the offseason.
They do go on vacations together, the GMs. I will say that.
Yeah, them and Bryce Young. Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm
good though. I don't want Bryce Young near this fucking team.
Listen, I'd rather draft Nessmeyer or another quarterback. Anyways, get your guy. Don't get somebody's retread. Get your guy.
Yes, please.
Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go with here. It's not even that much of a contest. Atlanta. Look what Kirk Cousins did. 500 yards of offense. He was amazing. I think he throws for another 300 yards this game. And sorry, Panthers. You're going to be the number one overall pick. Drew Sanders or Carson Beck in your future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens. And I will say this, another team in the Atlanta Falcons, that those two losses are against really good clubs in the Kansas City Chiefs and week 1 against the Steelers. So shout out to Atlanta. That being said, man, this is going to be a fun matchup as well, man. This will be a good matchup. We got the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go ahead and start with Adam on this one. Adam, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Detroit, even though the Cowboys have pulled out two, wins against. Well, they're against less inferior teams. We talk about styles make fights. I will say this: Detroit Lions. Jared Goff doesn't move around like the quarterbacks they've played in Justin Fields and Daniel Jones. So the Cowboys, if there's any chance, if they have any defense, this is the time you have to bring that defense because Goff is precision. Look what he did against that Seattle defense. I don't think he's going to have that. But yes, Detroit Lions.
Love it. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I got Detroit here as well. I just think, I mean, I know Dak and the Cowboy offense definitely has the ability to make plays, but I think Detroit is just going to be able to make more against this Dallas Cowboy defense. And Dallas's inability to stop the run, man. Detroit is going to be coming at you with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I just think it's going to be too much for the Cowboys defense, which is like ailing up a bit right now, too. I think with a lot of injuries. So, yeah, Detroit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I hate saying this, but I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys with the injuries. I think watching them last week against the Steelers, even though the Steelers should have won that game, I think they moved a lot more faster on the football field than as not against the Steelers, against the Starters. I think you have a team like Detroit that honestly should win this game. But it's not at Ford Field. It's going to be at AT&T Stadium, and I think the Cowboys is going to come in momentum to defend home field advantage. And yes, I think Detroit's going to move the ball up and down the field on the Dallas Cowboys. But I think at the end of the last whistle, the Dallas Cowboys will be the winners of the game. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Dallas loses, but I just have a feeling Dallas is going to upset Detroit. That being said, we already talked about the Giants and the Bengals. Let's get into Monday Nighters. We got Buffalo Bills versus New York Jets, and then we'll wrap it around for tonight's game that is going to be kicking off in less than 45 minutes. We have Buffalo Bills versus New York Jets. Who do you guys got in this one? Go right ahead, Matt.
I got to take Josh out on the rebound, man, and get back on track, man, against the Jets. That, Robert Saleh, as we know, was shown the door, escorted out by security out of the Jets facility the other day, and the Jets are a mess also, man. They're a fucking mess. Another team that's I just can't understand this organization here. So I think the Bills, get a little bit of their mojo back against the Jets.
Go ahead, Adam.
I'm going to go with the Jets as well. I think what he said is Albright, their coach, made a fantastic move. He took the play calling away from Nathaniel Hackett, and that right there was a move that if Robert Saleh had made, maybe he still has a job. He didn't. Nathaniel Hackett, and this is why I do believe like it was a coach's move and not an Aaron Rodgers move, because Aaron Rodgers probably lobbies to keep Nathaniel Hackett as his offensive coordinator. The defensive coach says, no, I'm doing it my way. And that guy has a lot of energy, and good for him. I hope maybe he wins the job for the Jets. The Jets need a coach. He's been a good coach for them. Their defense has not been the problem. I think they're not going to be a problem this week. I think the difference in play calling you'll see come out, and I think the Bills are ripe for the picking right now. So if you want to do something, save your season, go Jets.
Yeah, I'm going to find me a seat on that train as well. I'm going to ride with No Mets and Adam for everything they just said as well. And sometimes I do feel Aaron Rodgers. Like, I get it. You want to support your friends and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, maybe Aaron Rodgers is the reason why. Maybe he talked to ownership, and maybe Saleh is gone because of Aaron Rodgers. But I think that Saleh was about to fire the offensive coordinators before he got fired. And sometimes ownership just moved faster than you did. That being said, I'm not saying that hire was wrong. I think that was actually a good fire for the Jets organization, but exactly what Nomad said in the chat, momentum of the new play caller. I think Aaron Rodgers just threw 3 interceptions in London. That's not usual Aaron Rodgers play style, and I think he takes care of the football in this game and absolutely hurts the Buffalo Bills. That being said, though, it is going to be a close game because it's always a close game in divisions, but I'm going to ride with the Jets. Hopefully they can make something of this season. If they don't, who cares? Giants for life. That being said, we got 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be a fun matchup. No really major key injuries that is really going to play a big factor in this game. Debo is healthy. Obviously, I mean, like CMC, but he's on IR. So that being said, Debo is playing though. I'm going to go with Adam. What do you have on this game?
I'm going to take the 49ers. They have to get back. I think is that 2-3 or 3-3? I can't tell.
It says 2-3.
They have to get back to 500. That's what they need. They're desperate. Seattle, they blew their opportunity to beat the Giants and come in and steal the division. So now because of that, and I think part of they might come out and have a better showing because maybe they overlooked the Giants because of this game. We're going to walk over the Giants at 1-3 and be 4-1 and go into this game, and here they are. But because of that, I'm picking the 49ers. They're desperate. If the 49ers lose this game, it's going to be a long fall down that tree because you have Arizona that's tough. The Rams will play you tough, even though they have a bad season. They're still fighting. Profusely. Teams don't give up. So I'm going with the Seahawks. Excuse me, the 49ers. And that's it for me.
I love it. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle here, actually. I'm taking the Seahawks tonight at home. I think the 49ers, man, it's something's not right there. Something's not quite right there, man. And I think that I think the Seattle's going to get them, man. I think just the 49ers seem a little vulnerable right now. I can't put my finger right on it, but it's just not the same team we've been looking at the last couple of years, man. It's like this is the time for them to be had. I think the Seahawks, man, get out there and take care of business tonight at home. I just think they're coming off of a bad loss against the New York Giants. Let's face it, that was a bad loss at home. Against a team that they're supposed to be able to take care of, and I think they take some of that frustration out on this 49er team that's looking like a little bit of a vulnerable football team. And I don't know what's the status on George Kittle? Is he out tonight? What's going on with him?
George Kittle's playing,
and that too. And Ayuk, yeah.
Ayuk's playing, yeah. All the wide receivers are playing.
I'm talking about, but
actually, no Mets. Ayuk just had 8 catches for 157 yards last week. Ayuk showed up last week.
Well, I didn't see.
Continue your
point last week, but but at the end of the day, man, something's off with the 49ers team for some reason. I just think Seattle's gonna get them at home, man. With that 12th man, it's gonna come back to life a little bit.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. So I do love both of you guys' takes. I just think the Arizona stole the game late last week, so all the attention went on Arizona. But Ayuk had 12 targets for 8 receptions and 157 yards last week, and I do believe it's going to really come down to the 49ers. Mac, you're absolutely right. They haven't been looking great, but I just think it comes down to the coaching. I think Mike, as a first-time head coach, is going to get exposed by one of the most elite coaches in our league right now, outside of Andy Reid. Is obviously he hasn't proved anything. Everybody always gets mad at Kyle because he can't win a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, bro gets there at least. You know what I'm saying? And his dad's a legend, and I just think it's the 49ers are going to be too much for the Seattle Seahawks to handle in the way of schemes. I think he's just going to outcoach Mike tonight, and Seattle 49ers are going to escape with the victory. I think both teams have the ability to win the game. I just think in the final moments, Kyle Shanahan is gonna be victorious. I just think that with Debo back, with Ayuk finally catching some balls, with Kittle slowly getting involved, They need to prove that, hey guys, for the longest, it was like if CMC goes out, the offense runs through him, so you guys can't win games. If Debo goes out, the offense runs through him, so you guys can't win games. And guess what? They're proving everybody right. I think Kyle heard the noise. I think Kyle's going to come out tonight and have a fantastic game calling game. And then I don't think the Seahawks is going to be able to, obviously compete with them tonight. I think they're going to get the victory in probably by 10. But who knows? This could be one of those games that it finishes in the tiebreaker, 9-9. It feels weird like that. But that being said, I'm going to take the 49ers. I think they're going to show why they're still the 49ers. That being said, though, is there any other thing you guys want to talk about or any last words before we end the show? Good shit on all you guys' picks. I love it. Good takes in a short amount of time. I meant to start it earlier, but we kind of got lost tracked in some college talk. But that being said, any last words, guys, before we end the show?
I got nothing. I got nothing.
I don't know much either.
Perfect. Well, I just want to say thank you guys all for joining us tonight. This is slowly working our way back to YouTube in premium takes fashion. I know the boys been live on NFC East Roundup, so shout out to that. Make sure you guys tune into that show as well, and make sure you guys tune into Thursday's premium takes right before Thursday Night Football every Thursday, unless told otherwise. We'll let you guys know. That being said, I am going to pass the mic over to Adam to Mac to close this out. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Let's get it. Go right ahead, Matt.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets, holding down the chat like you always do. You are my guy. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming out. We like Zion said, we'll be back at y'all next Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. This is the new time slot for the foreseeable future. We hope. We hope this one sticks for a little bit. And we'll be coming at y'all, with all types of premium topics, each and every week, man. So. And MLB revving up the world in the postseason. We're almost at the World Series. You know what I mean? NFL season. It's been weird. It's been so far. It's been a wild ride. There's always gonna be something interesting to talk about with the NFL, and we're gonna keep y'all posted on that Malik Neighbors thing. I'm gonna start digging a little deeper into that, man. I got to figure out what's going on, man. Something ain't right, man. Something smelling a little fishy. You know what I mean? But we will be back next Thursday. Excuse me, next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. And if y'all don't mind, like we always do, get them fours up for our guy, NYG, Jeffy T, man. Get them fours up. Throw them fours up. This has been the Premium Takes Podcast. Hey!